Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode. We're going to talk about Bitcoin today. I say that at the beginning of every live stream because it is always true. This is actually kind of interesting from the daily perspective, right? And we do need to talk about the weekly perspective as well because we are hitting a new low today on Bitcoin. And I do believe this is going to do something stupidly parabolic in the near future. So that's the main thought. If you guys can go ahead and drop your comments about any altcoin questions you might have, I'd appreciate it. And I will drink my tea while I wait for you and talk briefly about Bitcoin. Whew, okay, a bit of a late start for me today, but it has been a busy week, that is for certain. Okay. Daily perspective. Oh, I said the weekly. Yeah, we need to talk about the weekly real quick because we are on top of an institutional benchmark. And that's always incredibly exciting, right? Well, we did it, guys. We're directly on top of the weekly 200 moving average. And I want to zoom into this candle as much as I can. And one important thing you should try is loading up the weekly 200 moving average on your shorter time frames to see how it interacts, okay? Since that is going to provide a very interesting picture for potential bounce points. Right? So let's actually talk about this. Let me do some math, okay? What would the weekly 200 be on the 4-hour chart? Let's do 200 times 7, and then that times 6. So 8,400 is going to be our weekly 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart, okay? So let's just load up an MA. And we are going to make this MA 8,400. If you're ever using the 4-hour chart, you should be using this benchmark, because it will give you a very nice perspective. I'm very interested in seeing how we interact with this value here. This is very exciting for me, okay? This line right here should act as a temporary brick wall of price. And if we ever do cross down below this value, you can expect high price volatility to occur if it doesn't initially find support on it, okay? Now, really, what I would ideally be looking for here is, while we did get our long signal at this location, there is something important to note, okay? Even though price will trade laterally, as defined by the compressing band, and that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're using the bottom edge of the 200 band perfectly as support, okay? So as long as we stay inside this band, mean reversion to the 200, MA will still be implied. And every time we have a CCI roll-up, as per my strategy, we will get long signal after long signal after long signal after all of these keep on firing. Okay? Now this is where your risk management comes into play as for actually scaling in and out of these positions, right? Since this scenario is all about profit ratio. Yes, from the daily perspective, we are continuously sustained in a downward trend. But if we do take a look at our 4-hour chart, right, we're directly on top of our benchmark. And as long as we're inside this 200 band and we're getting long signals, we'll keep on taking longs. Why? Because when we stop out of this position, you might have a static 2% stop loss. That's fine. And then you're going to do the same thing on this long signal, static 2% stop loss. That's fine. But when you eventually do get the winning long position, your upside is currently around 30%, okay? So with that kind of profit ratio, you can lose 15 times in a row and break even. Now, I'm not implying you're going to lose 15 times in a row. That's very improbable with what we're doing here. So the thing is, guys, it's okay to repeatedly take these long positions when you're directly on top of a benchmark and your condition for a long position is still in play. Yes, from our daily perspective, we are still in a downward trend. That is fine. But your other option is to wait for the daily trend to break, right? If we are no longer in a downward trend, then you can start entering your long positions instead. That is another scenario for you, okay? You will miss out on part of the trade, but catching the entire move is never necessary. This is going to be entirely up to your risk management on whether it's better to take longs in a good condition or to wait for a better condition to take your long positions, okay? That's really going to be your best course of action at this time, because I will not tell you to take shorts directly on top of the 200 weekly moving average. It's a terrible idea. So I'm going to dip into the comments. I know I mentioned that I might announce an EOS short later today. It is going to be a very small position, okay? Because we would be better betting against this longer term trending here, okay? And it's bad. We don't want to do that, at least for a long period of time, right? Because from this perspective, yes, we could also take a long position from here to here. But what I'm seeing is on the 3-minute chart, right? And what I'm really betting on is a retracement before continuous trending. And admittedly, that signal has not triggered yet. So don't short EOS yet, right? You don't want to bet against longer term trending unless we actually do get the signal for mean reversion. And that's going to be a very small position, guys. That's going to be 0.5%. So that's the 3-minute chart for you. I mean, it's going to be a really high probability signal. It's just not going to be very exciting because it's such a tight range. Beautiful. To the comments. Ooh, CVC and AST, yeah. 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and check out CVC here. Ooh, not bad. Calculation timed out. Let me just reload this. There are so many fun new error messages with the 3D Wave PM. It's ridiculous. Okay. Well, this is actually one of the more compressed coins that are trading right now. And from a brief look, it looks around 300. So let's actually see if that reversion already happened. And then we'll see what the defined range of the 300 band is. Okay? Because with this logic, we might actually be like, oof, yeah, we can actually get a long position here. Okay, the problem with this, though, at this moment, is the slope of probability volatility, okay? So because this is still sloping downwards, you can still technically trade laterally inside this band, except that lateral trading could just be on the bottom edge, and it can continue trending down for the short term. So even though this is a decent condition to trade in, it's not good for sustainable trending. Because I do believe we are just going to trade in a range like this, but the problem is going to be getting the entries because of how this can actually just trade laterally alongside the edge of the band. And that is about to expire, actually, as this period does rise up into the higher ones. So, yes, potential long position here. And the profit ratio is good. The problem is I do expect this to just trickle downwards, because that's completely reasonable. Even though mean reversion is implied, it could be lateral mean reversion, right? Where price just trades sideways a little bit to the downside, and the mean just slowly moves down to meet price. Not ideal. It's a nice chart, though. I just don't want to trade it. AST, the problem child. This is looking pretty similar, admittedly. Where this, yeah, this is actually something I'm with AST, the downward trickle, where it's actually still in the defined range, but it's really implying more lateral mean reversion instead of trending mean reversion. And I guess what we can do is go to the 12-hour chart and see what a potential signal might be for us, right? Because we actually triggered our entry, not our entry, our condition for the 226 period. Well, let's round it to 220. So it does. 1 second. I'll move this over here so I can... Oh, you're right. Okay, 1 second. I'll fix my mustache while I'm at it. There you go. Now you can see the numbers on the side. Beautiful. All right, so I said 220. Did I change that to 220? No, I did not. Hold on a second. Okay. And then we would need a 22 period CCI. And I'll be honest, guys, if one of my trade calls ever hits a stop loss, you should be out of the trade, right? So there's downward trickle here. It's operating in what should happen. That's the problem, right? And that's not ideal. So. Let's think about this. Now, if I want you guys to re-enter this, I will let you know. But until then, unfortunately, I can't actually give you a recommendation. TRX, definitely. Ooh, yeah, this is still trending. This is one of the few charts that I actually like that I'm still in. Okay? This is good. Let's see if there's any short-term take-profit signals coming up here. But I actually do like this chart a lot. Okay? Right, because our retracement range was around 60. This is going to trade laterally as defined by the 60 band. I'm so excited. Ready? Ooh, not quite. But this is still a defined trend. I'm still in this, guys. I would like to see where this next expansion takes us before actually recommending a new entry, if you will. Yeah, I'm still in TRX from 375. This location, right? And that is currently up 5%. That's healthy. And let's talk about Bitcoin again. Well, we already talked about Bitcoin. I need some more comments in there, guys. Coinbase, we are below the weekly 200 MA. Ooh, okay. 1 second. The indicators are loading. Price volatility will be high at key pivots. No, this is fine. We're right on top of the 200 weekly MA. There will be high price volatility at this time. Yeah, this is a decent time to enter a long position, at least from short-term reactivity. But the amount of volume is sad. There's no buying pressure at the moment. And I think just respecting the benchmark is a good idea from a profit ratio standpoint. That much looks good. And then I'll just load this up for a second. It won't load on the 4-hour chart. We're going to have to go to 12-hour. I would expect lateral trading at this price range. Okay? And our pivot for actual mean inversion isn't going to be around here. So again, that's my anticipated point of rejection for when this does finally have its dead cat bounce. It's going to be something like this. Okay? QKC, absolutely. Nice find. It was actually trending pretty nicely. What are we going to look for as an entry signal? We missed one about 5 candles ago right here. That was really nice. This might actually just run off. I would not be surprised if this just took off at this very moment. And let's see this here. 180. I do believe this actually, this is a failed mean reversion, so. Very interesting. Is this my watch list? I'm going to add that watch list to QKC. Wow, can't believe I wasn't on there. Definitely not a good entry signal at the moment. Let's check a shorter time frame, see if we can catch any overexpansion. And then find what a potential retracement value would be at. And then we can trade that. Because right now, this is, I would not enter at this time. Yes, there is this net expansion, which does say it's okay for you to FOMO. But I want to wait for a retracement before this kind of entry. Okay, guys? Not yet. This is a great chart. I will let you know about this in the near future. But I'm a little bit concerned about where this might play out. I think QLC was pointed out to me today as well. Because this is actually a really nice breakout, I'll be honest. Over on the 4-hour chart. Yeah, it's looking parabolic. It's really nice. So with QKC, we should also imply what our retracement value needs to be. AUD, I didn't announce the live stream. God damn it. 1 second. I need to post this in the chat, guys. That is my bad. I was wondering why there were only 7 viewers, and it's because I didn't post it. Okay. 1 second. Got everyone. It feels so stupid. Okay. Well, now more people should actually tune up. Let's hope. Let's see what happens. Totally on my watch list. Okay, this is perfect. I can actually define where we should enter. 351. Let's do it. Hi, Clonius. Yeah, we are in sustained trending mode as long as we are above the 350 period. Whew, I want to enter this so bad. What is this range? Although I'm expecting a 3% drawdown. I'm going to set some alerts. And I will call this in the near future because this is a great breakout. I just need to see the retracement. This here would have actually been a fantastic entry. But Wasn't on my radar. I was asleep. OAX. Absolutely. Some lovely compression. I had quite a lot of fun trading this range here. I'll be honest. Okay, anticipating a mean reversion position. Let's take a look. Our overexpanded period is... It's a bit muddy. Over here. Ooh, we're getting close to our EO short. Although this period keeps expanding, so I need to adjust this, right? Because we are doing this with a 3-minute chart, I might actually be able to announce it on the live stream. It's 126 now. Yep, that value is just going to keep on increasing, and the pivot for mean reversion is going to keep on getting lower. So let's see how this actually plays out. A little bit longer for expansion be the best case scenario. And I do need to warn you, this might happen. This is really funny, guys, right? Like, this is actually the same period for the mean reversion. Oops. Where we actually enter the band here. Like, this is the funny part about this trading strategy, okay? You can be right, but you can make no money. Okay, get this. At this location, it is implied that we would return to this mean here, okay? And we do. We just don't make any money off of it. Why? Because price does this. It goes to the mean in an upward fashion. It's absolutely ridiculous sometimes. But it goes to the mean with around a 90% accuracy. You just aren't guaranteed to make money off of the trade. Did BQX just pop right now? No. Another breakout. Okay, I want to figure out what the implied mean reversion on this chart is. Give me a second, because this is exciting. Okay, we have more people viewing now. Thank God. Okay. I came over to this template for a reason. Why did I do that? To look at OAX. However, since we're acting on this chart, I want to figure out how far up this should go. 357. And we're going to reload this because it failed. What did I say? Shoot. It's about 480. Whew. That is a nice perspective. I like this. And excuse the unforgivable lag. Because this is 3 times the load of the regular 3D wave PM. But it gives much more accurate results as far as the actual pivots go. Yeah, let's set an alert on this because this is really nice. Jesus fucking Christ. Look at this. Look at how perfectly this acts as a pivot for rejection. That's insane. Do you see how the wick perfectly comes to that value before further rejection of price? That's because this is the pivot for mean reversion. And price will go to the 480 moving average if it's crossed. So if something is going to sustain a downward trend, it's going to perfectly reject off that value and continue its downward trend. Of course, this might just be initial rejection. We might actually see a break of up above it. That's why I'm going to set an alert. We're going to name it when BQX is crossing up Bollinger Band 480 lower. That'll do it. Awesome. Now we have another alert. Back to the comments. I'm going to do AUDCHF. I never looked at oaks, though. Excuse me. I still need to do that. I'm going to just finish up this list you guys have here. Poly has been running. Let's check Poly. I actually don't have a lot of the newer coins in my watch list. Let me just add it. %. Shoot. Okay. 262. Actually, we might have something good going on here, guys. Round it to 260. Ooh. That is really aesthetic. Nice. I'm glad I came back to this. Again, guys, it's a perfect. Look at what a perfect pivot is. Right? We won't revert to the mean as long as we're below this pivot. And it acts as a significant resistance the entire time. So guess what happens when we enter the band? Reversion to the 260 mean is implied. Yeah, this actually has my seal of approval. The condition for a long is here. The signal is not. Right? Now let's talk about what that means. It's implied that we will return to this value here, around 3,200. That's almost a 30% gain. Okay? The problem is, price can continue trending downward along the bottom edge of this band here. And the mean can travel down to meet the price. That's one possibility. However, from just the buy and hold perspective, it is very improbable that this will actually continue its downward trending at this time. Longer term downward trending, mind you. Okay, there is buying pressure right now because we have entered the pivot for mean inversion. I like this chart. If you want a good entry signal, wait for a 26 period CCI to roll up. And I'm going to set an alert for that as well. Okay, and you can set this alert yourself. CCI. Okay. $26. Perfect. So the next time this 26 period CCI rolls up, you should enter BQX in a long position. This is a really nice chart. I'm so into it. Okay. Condition. CCI 26. It's very important that you put crossing up, okay? You have value, and your value needs to be negative 100. Okay, that'll do it. When that signal fires, take a long position here. Okay, I will be calling this when it fires. And then I was told to look at poly, so I will. Okay, let's think about this. Why is this running? No, I could have done this long here. No significant signal yet. Let's figure out how far we need to retrace. Just to watch it being the 260 period, that'll make me laugh. And we need to wait for it to load. Could you explain the 26 period CCI? Yeah, I know I can set a 20 CCI as an alert for the screener. But you can't change the CCI period. That's the problem. I only really care about changing the CCI period. right? Since having a 200 period CCI on the screener was actually what I was trying to create, and I actually asked Tensor Tom to make it before he was a criminal, and he never got around to it, so that's unfortunate. But why the 26 period CCI? Because roughly a 1/10 period of a CCI roll up for the most overexpanded period provides the best ratio of risk to management for a long position. And you cannot define that value without the 3D wave PM, unfortunately, but we'll get to it. Pax Smile says, what are the periods you use for Bollinger Band? 260 and 480. No, unfortunately, the defaults you should be using are 250 on the 1.25 standard deviations. That's the default base setting you can use for positive positions. However, what I'm doing now, I'm adapting the CC. I'm adapting my Bollinger Band to match the longest overextended period. And you need a very specific set of tools to do that. Unfortunately, without the 3D wave PM, you cannot define mass. I guess there is one thing you can do with Mark Whistler's MT4 indicator. That is possible. But you would have to screen every single period to figure out what the longest overexpanded period was. And you would need to load it into MT4. And you would need to read his book. Which, that's totally a free possibility for you. But I will be releasing the suite of indicators over the weekend on a subscription, as well as the lessons actually required to use them shortly after. $14 people. Oh, thank God that ramped up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I love you all. What's OAX? Dude, I don't know. I don't know any of the cards I trade. I have no idea half the things I trade. Really. This is a market based on pure speculation. I don't need to know the fundamentals. Since it's actually pretty funny. The fundamental news will drive a move, okay? But I trade the counter move. I trade the return to normalcy after the euphoria has fizzled out from the move. That's the best way to trade. I was going to do a Forex pair. AUDCHF. Interesting. Let's do 175. You had a great opportunity for a long here earlier, or yesterday, at this location. That would have been a great position. And you actually just hit your take profit target. So right now, you have two positions available to you. You are going to either be able to short at the top of this band or long from the bottom of the band. And that's just going to be a scalp position. From the 15-minute chart, that's your two options. And the sooner it hits one of those price targets, the better off you're going to be. Okay. So I would recommend longing from around 718, or I'm sorry, shorting from 718 and longing from 714. Okay. So 175 on the 1.25, at least for the short term, that's going to best define your trading range. So long from the bottom, short from the top. Check the 4 hour. See if there's any longer pivots we need to be aware of. I'm super hungry. I need to go eat. Okay, yeah, we do have a longer pivot for mean reversion here. Let's check it out. Okay, it looks like it's going to be 75. So I would expect something like this to happen. Okay, we're going to get a lateral trading range, which I define on the lower time frame, from this value to 714, and after it does those two bounces, it's going to continue an upward move up until 719. So you're going to have a few positions available for you here. You're going to have the short on the shorter time frame, the 15-minute, and then a long from 714, and from 714 it will retrace up to the 75 moving average on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so let's actually create an idea for this because it's pretty cool. Publish, and I'll just post it in the chat for you guys. AUDCHF long position as shown. Watch the live stream for more info. Cool. Public idea. Let's just make it public. Who cares? And then I need to make sure I have copied this chart layout off. One second. Chart sharing is off. Perfect. That's what I need. Cool. I'll just send this out for you guys. We'll see how it plays out. I actually really like this here. This is a nice chart. It's just going to follow that squiggly line. Just you watch, guys. So exciting. So yeah, short from the value I showed you, long from this value, all the way up to that moving average there. Pax Smile, Mark Whistler doesn't actually go over any of this in his books. Not what I'm doing here, unfortunately. I've adapted the tools he uses for something completely different. And while the base tools that he does provide are the foundations for my strategy, the actual 3D wave PM and mean reversion is something completely new. And I do have to thank a cat with charts for producing the indicators. This is revolutionary here, guys. There's, to my knowledge, the best kept secret in crypto, hell, in forex markets, in any market. All right, I'm going to load up the Apple chart on the daily just to prove a point on just how ridiculous this information is. Actually, there's going to be a great long opportunity coming up here on Apple in the near future. Okay, watch this. At this value here, we have the 131. And watch this. Let's just round it to 130. Beautiful. Okay. So from this pivot, the 130, as soon as it's broken, price reverts to the 130 mean. And then I actually had something on the daily chart as well. for the longer mean inversion here. 1 second. That's what I was initially thinking of. Okay. Longest overexpanded period was the 200. Okay. So what happens when we load up the 200 band, guys? When we re-enter the 200 band at this location, it's the signal of the start of a new downtrend to the 200 moving average. And guess where it initially finds support? The bottom edge of the 200 band. It has a relief rally from that location. And now we're seeing high price volatility at this key pivot. Why? Because price volatility will be high at key pivots if probability volatility does not support the direction of trending. So, what does that mean for the future? Now we're going to expect a shorter term mean reversion once the signal pulls its pin. And it's going to be from about 180. So if we load this up to a 180 band, we can predict when our next long position on this will be. Okay. All right. And let's set an alert for this because this is nice. When Apple is crossing up, Bollinger Band 180, lower. Perfect. This will give us a very high probability position right here. And that will be from, 12%. It's good in the stock market. Very nice position. Let's wait for this to happen because that's really nice. And admittedly, the period will continue to get higher, so I will need to adjust that alert. Are we still waiting for a Cloak Epic run-up? No, it already did, man. And then somebody said something about EOS, so let's check that out real quick. No, my alarm hasn't gone off in EOS. I'm going to leave it alone. Oh, I don't have an alarm on EOS. Never mind. To the 30-minute chart. Okay? This is why you don't enter your signals early, guys. Because expectations are aligned for growth. I want to trade expectations aligned for decay. And that has not happened yet. Right? Because our pivot for mean inversion is not crossed, and our pivot for mean inversion is actually a lower value. So don't enter your signals early. Wait for your signal to be crossed. And this is actually good news because the reactive counter move will actually be a larger move, right? Let's wait for this to load up. And I'm about to go get lunch here in a minute, guys. Yeah, that's awesome. So now it's an even longer period that we need to be crossed for mean inversion. And it's currently 350. Yeah, I already have 350. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, so now we just need to wait this out, guys. Because this will be a great short position, just not yet. Okay, let's talk about what we went over today. QLC, BQX, and OAX are all positions I'm super excited about. Okay. QLC, we're waiting for the retracement. BQX, we have a potential mean inversion position in the near future. It's very nice looking. OAX, another long position as soon as the 26 period CCI rolls up. And then Apple, as soon as the pivot on the 4-hour, or was it the daily chart or the 4-hour? Yeah, as soon as the pivot on the 4-hour chart is crossed, we'll attempt a long position. So 4 positions loaded up. As soon as the signal crosses, I will let you know about it. Okay? That's going to be it for today's live stream, everybody. Check the comments one last time, see if there's anything final. Doesn't look like it. All right, folks. This has been fun. I will see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m. Have a good day, guys.